Hello, and welcome to Coaching Corner with me, Tracy Forsyth. So today's Coaching Corner is inspired by the saying, to know me is to love me. I think it often indicates someone who is difficult to know. And if you really got to know them, you'd see past their exterior and understand them and see their many wonderful qualities. You know, to know me is to love me, or, to know him is to love him. You got to get past that stuff. And I think it's often true. I've met lots of people who at first impression were difficult, awkward, misunderstood, who once you got to know them turned out to be just wonderful people. And I know certainly I've made impressions where, I don't know, I was abrupt or direct or whatever it was. When people have got to know me, they love me. Anyway, so it got me thinking though, if to know me is to love me, how well do we know ourselves? And is a prerequisite of self-compassion and love really knowing ourselves? So I certainly used to struggle with that other phrase, you've got to love yourself before you can love others, because I thought, well, I don't love myself. What are you talking about? I've got this thing wrong and I'm not this XYZ, and this is not right about me. That maybe that sounds familiar, I don't know. But when I really stopped to think about who I am underneath all of that and how I operated, almost what my factory settings were without judgment, then I stopped fighting the bits I thought weren't good enough and didn't conform. And I just reframed them as, well, that's the way I am. That's who I am. And once I did that, I guess the love and appreciation for myself was more forthcoming. So, for example, just a tiny example, I'm not a big party person. I don't love being in a big group. I much prefer one-to-one conversations. And I used to think that because other people seem to love staying out all night, that I was the party pooper. So once I accepted that I was never going to be that person, I was never going to be there whooping it up until 4 a.m. in the morning, and that I was best off arranging to see friends one-to-one or just leaving a party early when I'd had enough, and that was fine. Well, that was fine. So once I really started to think about who am I, how do I operate, what's wrong with that, how do I put myself in the best position, best environments for my factory settings, then, I became more full of self-compassion and more full of love for myself. So my questions for you are, how well do you know yourself? To know me is to love me. How well do you know yourself? What are your factory settings? How do you operate? And if you looked at those settings without judgment, what happens? So let me know what you think. As always, my message to you is, in essence, be fearlessly you. Do the work to find out who you are. Know yourself and love yourself. All right, that's it for today. See you next week.